Namaste, cheers, and greetings, everyone. CC Through Arms, also known as True Patriot, on behalf of Volunteer Agriculture, True Living Organic Farms. We're back for another live stream. This one, I have an actual reason behind this live stream. It's not just, I'm not just randomly coming on here and talking to you folks because I'm bored, because I don't have nothing to do, because I have some downtime in between gardening chores. I think I need it. I felt, if you'll notice on screen in front of you, if you'll notice the cam. The cam is on some of the seed packages that I've been getting together. I've been trying to work on let me see, Sharon, good Facebook friend. Robert Ingalls, another very loving Facebook friend. A couple others. Got to get those out this weekend. I needed to go ahead and have some others packaged. And you can't sit there and do the tedious work of measuring seeds, opening the little bitty envelopes, labeling. You can't do all of this without thinking about a lot of things. You know, you're thinking about what you're doing. Then the mind tends to wander, and now you're thinking about how you arrived at this point and what's went into this. And then just a plethora of thoughts go through the mind. I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to possibly get on here and just talk from the heart a little bit about when I say volunteer agriculture, or I say that it's a labor of love, I need to convey what that means to me in an easier, better fashion to you all. I mean, I can say it and that it has a meaning to me, but the meaning that you all pick up might be different. And I need to, because a lot of times people don't get it, you know. I don't want no money. I don't care about money. I don't care about wealth. I don't care about the material possessions that either money or wealth can buy. None of that has value to me. If I get a brand new car today and I crash that brand new car into a brick wall tonight, it does not bother me because that car means nothing to me. I will never place value on that which has no value. However, that being said, if I needed to go to the co-op store that's 20 miles away, it would be easier if I had said car. So I will use tools if they're at my disposal. I'm not going to place value on them, though. We live in a world now where everyone is taught early on to value what isn't real. Here in America especially, you know, look at your money. It's a promissory note. Think of it like a glorified IOU. A faith-based tender. You know, for the most part, no value at all. It even has less value than firewood. You know, at least firewood, you know, you've got heat, you've got warmth, you're able to cook your food. Tinder is the little bits and pieces that initially you used to spark said fire. So they have value, but compared to the firewood itself, very, very little value. The purpose of agriculture, everybody likes to eat, you know. Some of our best memories are from sitting around at the kitchen table. friends and family, and people from church, members of the community, and you have a meal. And so through the process of breaking bread with one another, we've at the same time bonded with one another. Food is definitely a source of culture. You know, I would venture to guess that even the most racist, hateful, bigoted person on the planet eats food from other ethnic groups than his or her own. Yes, folks, I'm saying that even a KKK member probably has eaten at a Taco Bell. Probably a bad example, but, you know, most of you probably get my point. So when I got into agriculture, the need was already there. I wanted to be able to have foods that my kind are generally not allowed to have. And when I say my kind, I mean, I'm a disabled American veteran. I'm expected to live on less than $7,000 net income per year. I could tell you that that was impossible. And I could tell you what parts of myself, as well as my so-called quality of life, I have to automatically forfeit just to survive. But that would just make you cry. It's just a bunch of doom and gloom, and that would take us to a bad place. And everybody likes to feel happy. Birds and bees, flowers and trees, and everything has a happy ending. It doesn't, but we live in a fairy tale land, so I'm not even going to talk about that. But I would watch cooking shows. I like cooking shows. And I'd see a lot of the ingredients and the foods that were being consumed. And then it was sad. It was kind of bittersweet. At the same time, I loved watching them, and I loved watching this stuff. It was a whole nother world that I wasn't allowed to have. I wasn't allowed to touch. I'm poor white trash. I'm not allowed to think about what it tastes like to eat fresh, organic fruits and vegetables. That's for the rich folk. That's for the upper middle class folk. That's for the people that have money, the people that have substance. They're allowed to have that kind of life. But my kind, let me see here. Oh, I got $15 in food stamps. You reckon I might be able to buy me some fresh fruits and vegetables when I go to the grocery store this month? No, probably not. I will be able to afford some cheap soft drinks and some sodium-filled bags of tater chips. The system insured it. That's what it was set up to do. Why? Because poor white trashy people aren't needed. Let's just get rid of them quicker. Let's let them have a bunch of foods that their body doesn't need, and then they'll get sick and they'll die off. So initially, I needed to find a way that I could experience those same foods, that I could have a source of those same foods. It all comes back to money. Everything I tried to do. I looked into growing the best plants I could. Well, and you can't do that because you got to have dirt, soil, and you can't afford the soil, so you can't do it. You got to have seeds. You ain't got the money for seeds, you can't do it. Everything I tried, it just didn't work out. Most things still don't. But growing, that's something that worked out. When I was in a position that for whatever reason, maybe I got lucky, I don't know. Maybe I spent my last $2 on a lottery ticket, won $10, and used it to buy a bag of soil. Every time I was presented with an opportunity to grow, something magical happened. Things just, I don't know, they fell into place. People would say, oh, you got a green thumb. No. I have no such green thumb. I just like to grow, and I'm pretty good at it. that was before I knew that that wasn't even it as either. Nature sort of makes a way for things to work out. A person can go to a grocery store and they can the average person can afford safe, healthy, fresh, organic fruits and vegetables. And that really is sad because we live in a land where everything is abundant. Everything there is no shortage, excuse my language. There's no shortage of anything. But yet, you know, it's like when the Christians will get on Facebook and talk about Jesus, and it's absurd. Why are we got so many starving Ethiopian babies and kids that die from starvation every year? So that Jesus fella allowed you to win a lottery, which allowed you to buy a big, shiny, fancy new car and a big house to park it at. But that same Jesus will kill thousands of Ethiopian babies this year due to starvation. They can't have food? That just doesn't seem logical to me. Now, I'm not saying that is how it is. I'm not saying that's not how it is. I'm just saying, I'm speaking from the heart here. I'm just trying to convey to you all how I feel. And you know, I'm a fuck up. So even my personal feelings that come from the heart are probably wrong. However, they're all I have. And I can't be you. I can't be your friends. I can't be anybody else but me. And so during the course of this live stream, I'm going to focus on me being me. Hopefully you'll get something, gather something useful from it. Maybe if nothing else, it will serve as entertainment for you. Lettuce. Man, you want to talk about a good, prolific crop? Yeah, when I first started growing lettuce, it was like, well, reseed every 2 weeks, do this, do that. It seemed daunting. I wanted to go about it a different way. I had extra space and I just filled it up with lettuce plants. Then I had lettuce plants that were left over and I didn't have any space to put them. So I just crammed them in other spaces. You know what the end result was? Oh, I couldn't tell you how many fresh salads we eat. Every day. It's like, you know, you want a salad? Yeah, well, we go put in a salad. Well, we can't do this, and this because did that and that. We've got to change it up. We've got to get creative. And that was a lot of the fun, was trying to find a creative way to be innovative with the salad. And why do you want to do that? Well, because when you got so much salad, you don't want to, you want to break up the monotony. You want to try new things. And all I could think was, do you know how many people would probably kill to be in this position? I mean, I've got that much, I'm looking at that much lettuce that there'd be no way, it wouldn't be possible for me to eat it all by myself. It is a nice, comforting feeling. So then I start figuring what it takes to do that. And I figured, well, you know, lettuce, I did pretty good with lettuce. Let's incorporate other things and let's just see how far we can take this. Keep in mind, folks, that I'm one person. I have no staff. I rarely, if ever, have any help, physically, mentally, or financially. One person. But when I put my mind to it, and I saw the amount of food that I was able to produce, just me by myself, that was life-changing. Life-changing. And of course, that leads to other thoughts. You get to thinking stuff like, well, if I'm one person and this week I've produced enough food to feed 50, what if I had a staff of 5 people? And those 5 people were able to replicate 1/2 of what I've done. The growth, the amount would be exponential. But yet, why don't we do things like this? You can't even watch TV for a half hour without seeing some commercial, but throw some money to some charity and blah, 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 and help feed some starving kids. And then we've got the ASPCA. Just give them $30 a month. They're going to throw you a t-shirt, and your money's going to a good place. You've got to trust it's going to a good place. Meanwhile, how much did the chief financial officer, the chief executive officer of the American Red Cross take home in form of a salary last year? How much money? Goodwill Industries, there's you another one. Their board of directors took home what per year net income last year? Now, I don't know those figures. Somebody can do the research. Let me tell you my figures. Last year, in the year 2017, Volunteer Agriculture, also known as True Patriot, netted $7,403. In terms of dollars, that's what I made. Pathetic, right? Yeah. I tell you what, eat good. And as long as you got a full belly and you've got a little bit of food put back, them pathetic numbers don't bother, don't hurt, don't affect you near as much. Most of the system, probably, legitimately speaking, probably all of it, but for the sake of argument, we're just going to say most. Most of the system is a complete scam. And so much of the good food is kept off limits to a majority of the populace. Perth Observer is in chat. This is a good friend of mine. Perth, if you want to come on, I was getting packages ready to mail out this weekend for my for my nonprofit, my charity, my community-supported agriculture. Of course, I still need to get electric ran to the outdoor grow room. I need to get a door put on the outdoor grow room. And I truly wish to expand my efforts, my operations. I've had an excellent result this year. I've still got a lot of good fruits and vegetables. And you know, I enjoy it and I love it, and I'm not griping, but it's something that without being able to share it with the community, it doesn't feel as nice. And it's not something, it was, at first it was a concept. If one person sets out to grow entirely organic fruits and vegetables. If one person wants to grow 1,000 different varieties of fruits and vegetables, is it even possible? And if that one person wants to do that and has no money, what can they do? How can they do? I've proven that there is success there. It's all a labor of love. And if your mind and if your heart are in the right place, it is still going to be hard. It's still going to be a very, very, very rough path. But with the level of success that I've seen, I want to replicate that success. I want to be able to share what I feel when I look around at all the stuff that we've put up for the winter this year. I got to find a way to pass that feeling on. So many people are going to go into a grocery store. So many single mothers are going to walk into a grocery store today with $5 in their pocket, and they're going to try to feed 3 hungry kids supper tonight. And they're not going to do it. Yeah, they're going to put some kind of crap in them kids' mouths just so them kids shut up. But it's not going to be wholesome. It's not going to be pure. It's not going to be good for them. And that's a problem. And the only way that we can address that is when we come together and we work as a community. Now, I might not have money. I might not have much family. I might not have much of a support system. I don't have many tools. But I have motivation. I have a will to survive and an even stronger will to succeed. And I need to turn my will into something more tangible for others outside just my local community. Hash info. Cheers, brother. Thank you for being here. You know, it's like the Carolina Reapers, folks. My Carolina Reapers. Let's look at some Carolina Reapers. Okay? All right. This constitutes mathematically 1/32 of the amount total that I've grown. Let's talk a little bit more math. What is one person going to do with 40 pounds of the hottest pepper in the world? What does one person do with 40 plus pounds of the hottest pepper in the world? Maybe there's some Indians in India that make a holistic cure for the flu, and they use chili powder. Or maybe they make a tincture out of chili powder. Get on the internet, people. Do your research. You know how much they charge for an ounce of chili tincture? But my poor, ignorant, redneck, white ass by himself produced 40 plus pounds of peppers, Carolina Reaper chili peppers this year. They didn't have no money. What do I do with them? How do I share them with the world? And see, that's what I need. That's where I need help. I can get out here and I can work 20 hours a day, folks, and I am entirely committed to doing that. I will work 20 hours a day. I will forfeit money. I will forfeit love. I will forfeit material possession. I will forfeit friends. I'll forfeit family. But I need to know that by giving up the majority of the things that people take for granted, when it's all over with, it meant something. I was able to pass something on. Think about a seed. I'm just a seed, folks. That's all it is. What's a seed's purpose? to grow a plant. Well, why does the plant grow? To produce a seed. And what is the seed? It's the passing on to future generations. Everything. Everything. That's all the seed's purpose is. It's the opportunity to pass on to the future history. It's a living account of everything with one purpose: pass on, so on and so forth. And that's all it's about. And you come up with a lot of hurdles when you set out to do that. Lots of hurdles. Like, so for instance, I didn't have enough rain this year. Didn't have enough rain. So there were times that, man, I feel guilty as hell, but I had to fill up my water collection, my water storage with tap water. And then I had to allow that tap water to sit for a couple weeks, right? Well, long story short, that costed money that my poor white redneck ass didn't have. End result, I was $20 short on my water bill, which meant my water was shut off, which meant for several days I had to do without water. I'm not griping. I don't, you know, it comes with the territory. I'm just saying that there's got to be ways that it can work. And we're allowing what does not exist to be the deciding factor on what is accomplished and what becomes a failure. Money isn't real. Why is it called a promissory note? Because it's a promise. It's an empty promise. It's an IOU. It's not real. So whether or not a man is able to feed his family today should not be hinged on something that isn't tangible, something that has no value. Well, if you're sick and dying and you got money, you can get help. But if you're sick and dying and you don't have money, well, we don't give a fuck. We're just going to let you die. I don't know all the answers, but I know that's not it. That's not logical. And you know, and as long as we're not able to come together as a community, we can't figure these things out. We can't address these exact issues. How many times are we going to watch some guy in some third world country murdered because he's poor and his family's poor and he tries to address their sickness using a medicinal plant? How many times? How many times are we going to tolerate it? You go into your grocery store and you're buying the shit that the system has taught you to buy is not the answer. I don't have the answer. I'll be the first to admit I have learned enough to know that I don't know shit. But I want to find that answer. And I think together we can do it. And that is why I started Volunteer Agriculture. Because it is just that. It's all voluntary. It is all a labor of love. Genetics. I got into cannabis growing. You know, them are expensive. I mean, seeds. I mean, you might spend as much as $30 per seed. Do you really think my poor white ass could afford $30 a seed? I can't even afford water. Would I be able to afford them seeds? No. How do you think I got them then? Volunteer agriculture. It's all been a labor of love. You know, I'm not advocating that anybody believe the way I do, that anybody see the way I do. You've got your own path to walk. Hopefully, you'll do it to the best of your ability. But I can only tell you that in my path, the love and the support that I have been shown is the only thing that has allowed it to continue. You know, it's like, you remember a couple years ago, folks, when Mom was dying with cancer. My own family let me sit there and starve. They wouldn't even take me to give me a ride to a grocery store. I had mowed the yard for one of my neighbors. We had went out mowing the yard. I had $50 in my pocket. I couldn't even get them to return my ID card. I couldn't get them to take me to a grocery store. I couldn't get them to bring me no food. It sucked. No, but you know who was there for me? My friends and family within the growing community. They were there for me, and they rallied to my and supported me every step of the way, and they got me through a hard time. And agriculture did that. My love for plants and what I have tried to do through agriculture accomplished that for me. So I am advocating for community-supported agriculture because it does offer solutions. It does offer answers. It does offer, if nothing else, unification. And you see, I might not be able to figure something out. You might not be able to figure something out. And somebody else might not be able to figure something out. But when the three of us are able to come together for a common goal, and we work towards the greater good, if nothing else, even if we don't find a solution, we are that much closer to arriving at a solution. So efforts like mine have got to be promoted. They have got to be supported. We have got to find ways to help one another. And you all, I just put a link in chat. Anybody that wants to come on to a panel, we can change the subject if we got to, as long as we keep it on plants, animals, love, and helping one another. I'm all for whatever topics anybody wants to talk about. Let me acknowledge chat. I know Hash Info, brother, you should come on. You're welcome to. Perth Observer, thank you for being here as always. You're welcome to as well. And anybody else. I mean, you know, I needed to take a break. You see, I've still got to get these seeds. I've still got to get this stuff packaged. It's hot outside. I do need to get out in the yard and do some work, but I wanted it to cool off. It afforded me some extra time. And I thought, you know, let me just get live for a minute. Let's talk from the heart. Because oftentimes, you know, people see stuff like what I'm trying to do, and they see it in the wrong light, from the wrong perspective. And they'll never get it that way. They'll never get it. I want to expand what I'm doing. And I'm at the point that I can only continue maintaining what I'm doing. So I need help. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, whatever. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to figure it all out.
Hi, Mike. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Going pretty good. I had to finally break down and deal with the Carolina Reaper peppers last night. Yeah, that was a rough one. That was a rough one. I had to go ahead, and I had a bunch dried, but I hadn't went through. At first, I was just going to send people peppers. And I was just going to send people peppers, but then I thought, you know, I don't want to do that. I want to send them peppers, but then let's say they want to grow some. I want to send some people some seeds as well. So I need to get into these peppers, and I need to extract the seeds from them, which sounds easy, right? I mean, they're already dry. I get a face mask and a pair of gloves, And I sit here and I cut one open, and instantly I can't breathe. I can't see. There's a haze in the air. Oh, it's that. Yeah, they're. I don't know if you've ever worked with a truly hot pepper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're. Needless to say, I was only able to extract seed from roughly 20 of them. Yeah, I got to figure another. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe go outside and get some kind of like a military breathing apparatus.
I had that experience, not so much with the breathing factor, but totally forgot to put the gloves on because it didn't involve a lot of chilies. It was only like a couple, but totally forgot to put the gloves on.
Yeah.
Didn't realize the actual hotness of it at the time, and then decided that I wanted to scratch my eye. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, it only takes one time. You never do that the same thing twice. Not when it comes to chilies.
Yeah, well, see, and the Carolina Reaper is the hottest pepper in the world, and it is. They consider it a chili pepper, but it's basic. What is it? A green Thai chili that has been bred with a habanero, and it's a force to be reckoned with. But it sucked because I've been busy, so I hadn't addressed it, but I needed to address it because what I'm doing is anybody that has donated to my charity, my community outreach project, I've made these seed packages. I'm giving them these seed packages as a way of saying thank you, you know? And I needed to get some of the Carolina Reaper seeds, and so I had to do it. And yeah, it was rough. And then it got worse. I had a fresh one sitting here, and I cut the smallest piece imaginable off of it because anyway, it made me. I was watching videos about this challenge on the internet, people eating them. I cut the tiniest piece off of one so I could eat it. That's probably one of the worst mistakes I've made in my lifetime.
Oh yeah.
I tried everything. I drank a quart of milk, and it didn't help. It didn't do nothing.
If you cut the very, very tip of it off and just sit it on your tongue for not even a friggin' split second, right? That's enough to literally kill your mouth.
Oh, it did. Definitely was an experience that I had not anticipated.
I mean, my kids, well, one of my girls and my nephews and nieces, because my dad was always into chilies and stuff like that, obviously not the ones that you're growing, but just chilies, right? Hot chilies. Yeah. They would sit there and they would have a competition at the table as to who could literally bite into one, and you weren't allowed to bite it and swallow it. You had to bite it and then chew it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they used to leave us in tears. There would be no sitting. They'd be jumping up and down, and you can see tears coming to the eyes. But yeah, they're definitely.
When you're mentioning the red chilies, you're probably mentioning some of these.
Yes, similar to those, yes. And the little one.
Traditional cayenne chili pepper.
Yeah, you know the little ones, they kind of sort of look like a teardrop, but they're only little and they're green.
Yeah.
And when you actually grow the little bush, they're multicolored. What are they?
I don't know. Multicolored. I don't know. They're probably a type of a chili. There are a lot. A lot of different varieties of chili peppers. I've only worked with a green Thai chili, the traditional cayenne chili, and then of course now these Carolina Reapers. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Carolina Reaper is still the hottest pepper in the world right now. Unless I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty certain that it's still the hottest in the world right now.
But going back to what you were saying before about the lettuce and growing stuff and people, you know, sort of coming and volunteering and whatever, mate, it's money has been so inbred into people that, like I says, nobody's prepared to take a day or two and donate their time. You know what I mean?
How do I eliminate? Now let's start off small. How do I eliminate in its entirety hunger in my community by myself? And I've been trying for years and I just can't do it. I need help. And we can't sit there and keep this mindset that, well, you've just got too big of dreams and you just need to quit. That's not the answer.
That's right.
That's not the answer. Right. And I don't know what the answer is. So I'm still grabbing at straws with the hope that maybe it'll rub off.
And the thing is, mate, it's not that you've got a too big a dream. It's the fact that they're too fucking lazy to do it themselves. They don't want you doing it. That's what I have discovered. That's what I have discovered. If they don't want to do it or can't do it, God forbid you do it.
Why?
So therefore, your dream is too big.
I mean, I've given up girlfriends. I've given up money. I've given up. I don't get to go out with friends. I've given up most of my entire life for plants and animals. And I don't care to do it. But it has to count for something more than me putting up food for myself and my family for the winter. Because truthfully, just looking at my Carolina Reapers, I'm producing in an amount that is way more than I can use. That means there's excess. Well, here's the problem with excess. There are people right here in my community that have less than enough. So if I have excess, it makes me feel like shit. Excess anything while there are people doing without. And I need to bridge that gap. And, you know, it's been a mission of mine for years, but I'm just now to the point where a lot of it's coming together. You know, having a flock of chickens was important because A, I would be able to harvest my own egg shells, which would give me a source of calcium. B, I would harvest chicken manure, which would give me a source of nitrogen. But also, we'd get the eggs. It was a win-win, and it covered multiple facets of my approach. Well, why would it be so important to have nitrogen or calcium, people might wonder? Well,
I don't think, mate, that's a problem of 2018. I think that's an issue that's been ongoing for some years, because when my folks had a farm, I mean, Dad had a huge chicken coop, right? Yeah, I'm talking chickens, turkeys, geese, you name it, right? You name it for the eggs. And the farmers had hectares of property, just like my dad did. They never had gardens. They never had chicken coops. They would always come to my ma and take from her.
Yeah.
Because it was easier. There was no time that had to be spent on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's called let somebody else do it. We'll just go over and collect, which is what people used to do.
Yeah, well, that's not getting us anywhere. Maintaining status quo means maintaining failure. We're failing. Humanity is dying. It's not getting better.
Humanity is dead. Hey, humanity is dead. It's not dying, it's dead. Because if two people can live next door to one another, one has and the other one doesn't, and some form of help doesn't come from the one that has, it's dead.
So we have to address it. We can't maintain a defeatist attitude. It doesn't get any of us anywhere.
We know that, but try telling that to somebody that does have money.
Oh, yeah. I had a guy attack me last night, And I didn't do nothing. All I did, I've not asked nobody for nothing. And the only claim that I ever made was that if you helped support my agriculture project, I would not only personally thank you, but I would also send you a seed collection from some of the crops that I've grown this year so that you knew that it was your support that allowed efforts like mine to exist in the first place. And all I did was send that person a link to where they could read about my contribution to the world of agriculture. Well, that made them very mad. They called me names. They attacked me. They said, what right did I have to presume that they would even care about agriculture, that they would even give a shit, that all they were making was a couple $1,000s a month, and it was up to people like me to worry about others if people like me thought that others even matter. And I just, I don't know where to go with that. I've not tried to make anybody mad. I've not tried to, but people, yeah, people just don't, they just don't genuinely give a fuck about anything or anyone but themselves. And that's sad.
Because if you have a look at how many people that do have money, that do have the capability, they would rather go out, for example, and I don't know, buy a fucking outfit for like $600-700, buy a suit for $4,000-5,000, a suit that they're only going to wear 3 times, a suit that nobody gives a flying fuck over how much it cost, okay? Nor can anyone really tell, except the person that's fucking bought it, rather than send that money to a place where people are hungry, where people need to be fed. But they don't, because everybody's got this money thing ingrained. It's I've got to have more. I've got to have more. Fuck everything else. I just got to have more. Well, we're not stopping to look that when they drop fucking dead, which is a definite guarantee for each and every one of us, you can't take that shit with you.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And you know, my biggest concern is that without passing on to future generations some of what has went into me becoming the person that I am, there's a lot of things that may get lost when I'm no longer here. No, I'm not saying that I'm going anywhere. I'm not saying that I'm dying. I'm not saying that I'm some guru. I'm just saying that I feel like I have some aspects of some things figured out, maybe just a little bit more than others. And I want to be able to pass on the experience that went into getting me where I'm at spiritually. And that if I'm not able to pass that on, then I'll take it with me, and it won't be of no benefit to others. And you know, it's just like the preserving the food. You know, canning is almost like it's a dying art. Few people even comprehend what it takes to preserve food. They don't care.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like, you know, people sort of teaching people to grow and stuff. I think it has to start at home. Majority of stuff has to start from the parents. I know that with my folks, my ma had 2 big, like, gardens or whatever. There wasn't a veggie that wasn't in it, okay? She, whether being on the farm, whether being in suburbia, she always had a garden. Which is what got me into just plants and stuff. Not full on, which is what I would have liked to have done, but you know, it got me into plants, and I inherited their green thumb. My daughter, the youngest one, she was growing her own veggies in suburbia.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So it starts, I think, if you're going to look anywhere, it starts more from the home, and then you kind of pull in the odd one or two people. Do you know what I mean? And if it catches on to them, they may take that idea home. It's basically having to go back to square one, because people will not do it because they want the quick and easy. They want to drive down to a supermarket, walk in, grab that fucking head of lettuce, and walk the fuck out.
Yeah.
They don't want to know about fertilizing it, watering it, waiting for it to sprout, waiting it for it to grow till it gets to the point where you can put it on the table. They don't want that. It's everything has been sold out. Humanity's sold out for quick and easy.
Yeah, and that's sad. That puts humanity in a precarious position.
Absolutely.
Because if all of us growers collectively said, "Hey, we're not feeding you no more," then where would all these people get their food from?
Exactly.
They couldn't survive. They would have no food. Their grocery market shelves would be empty. But yet, when us within the growing community, the agriculture community, seek help, seek advice, seek something as little as a different perception, and we are deterred, it doesn't help anybody. I'm running out of jars, I'm running out of bags. So, so if I have to sit here and watch a crop go to waste, you know who that hurts. And I'll give you a hint, it doesn't hurt me. Because before that happens, I make sure that I've got myself and my family put back for. No, that hurts the community around me.
Yeah,
And that's what the
unfortunately,
community around me doesn't comprehend. It, that we all have to help each other.
for humanity to actually get the gist of that, it's going to have to go back to square one. Sad to say it, but I think it's not until shit really hits the fan and people get a taste of what it's like to not have food.
Yeah.
And I don't mean for a day. That's when it's going to hit home, and that's when they're going to start thinking, well, hang on a minute. Up until then, like when they can go to a supermarket and just grab what they want, people are not going to give a damn. They're just not. And it doesn't just apply to food. It applies to majority of stuff. It's all the quick and easy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's got to be quick and easy. If it's not quick and easy, we don't want it. I mean, as I said, my folks had a farm. They had hectares of land. The dad grew wheat and barley and Lord knows what. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All the farmers around him had hectares of land. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shitloads of land.
Yeah.
And yet the farmers would come to my ma and take veggies from her and take eggs from her. And do you know what I mean? Like, you'd kind of think, well,
because it's easy.
And plus, on top of everything else, on top of keeping all of that going, she still sat on a tractor and was going round and round in a paddock while my dad was in another one. But that was just more the European mentality, because majority of Europeans and Asian people, you will see they're the ones that are in these gardens. They're the ones that have got these big ass veggie farms and whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what they've been brought up to
natural
do.
farming methods are that is what ensure the success of my. I got a feedback thing going on. Is it took care of now, or is it still got feedback?
No, you're good.
Oh, but I use people wonder how I'm able to achieve success without using chemical-based fertilizers, without using tap water, without using soil that one can readily purchase at their local store. And I tell everybody, first, I'm an organic farmer, and what ensures the success of the organic farming is that I use Korean natural farming methods, which means KNF is the would be the acronym if someone wanted to do research. But basically, I use a lot of compost teas to feed my plants. And these compost teas are rich in IMOs, IMOs being an acronym for indigenous microorganisms, meaning I might grow a plant that is from another country. And if I want to ensure the success of that plant in my area, I have got to get a way of incorporating the indigenous microbes and the little bitty tiny small aspects of life in my area. I have to incorporate that in the grow process. Why? Well, the Oriental people, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, they figured a lot of this out long before I ever got here. And when I did my research, their methods and their approach to large-scale food production seemed a hell of a lot better than what Western culture utilizes. Our commercial farming in this country, it's more of a detriment than a benefit. We're destroying the planet. And yeah, so I didn't want to, I'm like, it's no good. It does me no good to grow a bunch of food and feed people if my method is killing other people. So when I did my research, some of the Eastern cultures, they've got it figured out a lot better than we do here in Western culture. Western society is, man, we literally don't know our ass from a hole in the ground. I mean, we're fucked up. Excuse the language, but I don't know another way to describe it.
There is no other way.
I mean, we'll go and we will plant a plant, right? That requires bees to pollinate it. Otherwise, the plant doesn't live. Then we will turn around and have weeds grow up around that plant. And we will spray a bug killer that kills the bees on the weed to get rid of them. And then we'll sit back and wonder why our plant isn't pollinating itself. And it's like, well, duh, you needed the bees and you just killed the motherfuckers off. Of course it isn't pollinating.
Mate, it isn't just that. It goes even deeper than that. And I think I might have told you this story ages ago. My parents lived next door to a family that was from Vietnam. And the wife happened to be over at my mum's house while my mum was like weeding and whatever.
Yeah.
And she turns around and says to my ma, she goes, can I have that weed? Can I have that? But she didn't call it a weed.
Yeah.
And my mum looks at her and says to her, she goes, but Leanne, it's a weed. She goes, oh no, we put that in soup. Because people are so busy hating on each other, they don't have the time to talk. They don't want to talk because somebody is of a different nationality. They refuse to do it, like to come together to find out what can actually be friggin' eating that is being tossed in the bin and classed as a weed.
Yeah.
And that was out of my mother's garden. It was simply we looked at it as a weed until she turned around and said, oh no, we put that in our soup. So people don't even know what the fuck they can eat.
And they don't,
because they're too busy hating on each other.
They go to the grocery store and they spend all their cherished money on what they've been taught is food. They eat it, and for a brief instant, they no longer feel a symptom that they've learned to associate with hunger, and they think that they've accomplished something. Meanwhile, they at the same time get sick and begin to die, and it never occurs to them that what they were putting into their body was the problem, not the solution.
That's right.
And that's not sustainable, and that is not a that's not a method that's going to allow our species to ever thrive.
Oh, listen, like I says, you know, until people stop hating on each other, nothing is going to progress. Nothing. There's just too many categories that people have that they can fight over that gives them reason to hate. And while everybody's too busy doing that, nothing will go forward. That's why I keep saying to people, you know, walk with everybody. You might fucking learn something. I mean, God, in the bushes, in the back bushes, and I don't say streets, I mean in the back bushes of Bali, Indonesia, when I lived there with my daughter, I ended up getting this bitch-ass friggin' cough, right?
Yes.
And they says, oh, no dramas, you know, we'll take you to somebody that can fix that. Well, off we go, all of us in the car, and we're heading bush, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, like, what am I letting myself in for, right? We get out there, and he snaps the branch off a tree. He tells the young lady that was with me, he tells her what to do with it, whatever. We get back to the house. She takes the leaves off, and she's got bottled water. She's not using their water. She's got bottled water, and she mushes up these motherfucking leaves, okay, and fills and I don't mean a little glass, I mean this tall glass of this green stuff that looked to me like fucking some kind of sump oil that should have gone into a tractor or whatever. It stunk like gum trees. Okay, I mean, you could smell leaves, of course, right? Because it was leaf. Anyway, she says to me, because I went to take a sip of it, she's telling me, no, 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 no. She goes, you got to drink all of that in one hit. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, oh, sweet Jesus, how am I going to do this, right? Because I'm not one to not try because I want to prove things to myself, I guess. But then I'm looking at it, and every time I would bring it to my face, because I could smell the smell was so strong of leaves that my stomach was wanting to turn, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I pretty much took a breath, plugged up, like squished my nose with one hand and downed the whole friggin' glass. And I thought, well, the worst that can happen is one, I can get better, or two, I'm going to have the shits for a month, right?
Yeah. That's
Anyway.
not fun.
Well, no. But anyway, I figure it's part of the experience. So I did this. Down it went, okay? They're all sitting there fucking watching me because to them, I'm a Westerner that's doing this, okay, which they find fascinating. The following morning, I wake up. I didn't get the shits, by the way. Following morning, I wake up, no sign of a cough. It's like I never had it. And that's just leaves off a tree. That's not a special growing tree in his garden. That was just there. It was a tree that was just there growing with all other trees.
Oregano. Yeah.
But
Somebody.
he knew.
Huh? Yeah.
He knew what to do with it. You know what I mean? And this is where I'm saying, if people don't want to talk to people, people just want to hate on each other, how the hell are they supposed to learn what they literally have sitting on their property?
They're not. You know, I got the infection in my leg. And anyway, I got this infection in my leg. And of course, so-called healthcare has proven yet again to be a joke. No care provided. Oh, yes, they've billed my insurance thousands and thousands of dollars, but I'm still sitting here with an infection in my leg. And some of the simplest things would actually be a cure. And we were basically talking and brainstorming on Facebook the other night. And one of my Facebook friends, follower, whatever you choose to call them, they said, Have you tried oregano? Well, let's see. I put oregano in the spaghetti sauce. No, I've not tried oregano. What the heck? What are you talking about trying oregano? Making an oil of oregano, and using that to treat the wound. That had never, I was uninformed. So I did a little bit of research. There is something to that. But that's just one approach. There's you know, but it's the same thing without us first sitting together and talking. We're not going to be able to share back and forth.
Exactly. And that's the whole purpose why hate is such a big thing. They've got to keep the division going because people don't learn.
They don't want us to communicate.
They stay ignorant.
People stay oblivious that way. It's real easy to control the population when you can first keep the population segregated by whatever means you choose to do so. Hegelian dialectic. I always tell people to do that research. But you know, that I digress. The point is that they keep us apart. Yep. And by us remaining apart, we don't learn nothing. We don't grow. And when we can't find that common ground, the things that afflict us, we're not able to solve.
I mean, just another thing, for example, like I know somebody that was over in Bali and they ended up with a urine infection. Okay, now normally in the West, you would run to the doctors and they would prescribe medication and you would go home and you would take that. Over there, you can go to certain women that literally do those kinds of things, right? They mix up their own little concoctions.
Yeah.
You can go and she mixes it up in the glass right there in front of you. You drink it and it's done. Wow. Do you know what I mean? These are everyday common problems that people are having, and they don't know what the hell is around them and the simple things that they can do to actually sort themselves out. I mean, just eggs, for example, and this is a proven fact. Proven fact, we proved it ourselves. My ma used to tell us stories that back in her day, if you got a mega bad burn, okay,
put egg on egg white.
You get egg white.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you stick that onto not less, well, if it's on your hand, obviously you would put your hand into a container and you would put a shitload of egg whites in there, right? And you would literally leave it sit in there. But my brother-in-law, this is years ago, their eldest was only 4 at the time. He'd gone to a farm and bought fruit and veggies, whatever, come back, and the exhaust on his vehicle was hot. Well, a kid being a kid wanted to get into the boot to have a look what was in there. So, of course, she sticks her foot on the exhaust pipe to, heave herself up. When she let out this rip-roaring scream, well, my sister remembered what my ma had said, grabbed her, raced her inside, got an ice cream container, threw all of these friggin' eggs in there like the egg whites, stuck her foot in there. Not a blister anywhere. It literally sucked the burn right out of her foot.
Oh, wow.
And that's just eggs out of the fridge. Now, I don't know today, 2018, as to how good that would work because of all the shit that's being fed to most chickens or chooks, whatever you want to call them. But we proved it to be right.
Oh, wow. I think I'm going to have to end this live stream here in just a minute. Probably about 10 minutes, actually, Perth Observer.
No dramas, mate. Do it when you got to do it.
Well, because I have to get the chickens in. And, yeah. But we've got to find common ground however we can.
Mate, people just have to get over their fucking egos. They have to get over the fact that their shit smells better than everybody else's.
I mean, I don't have money, I don't have material possession, but I do have some insight, and I'm grabbing at straws. I fail more than I succeed, but I'm making the effort, and that's where it starts. Is if we all can find a way to make an effort, and there is no such thing as a small effort. I mean, because I firmly perceive that things have a way of growing. And if you put a little bug in somebody's ear, if you say you wake up this morning and you see somebody noticeably in a bad mood and you say something nice to them and then just walk away, it does have an effect. There's no vain effort. And if we all make whatever effort we can make, we can, the changes can occur. It's not hopeless. It seems hopeless, and we fall victim to despair. But it's not something that has to be that way.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's getting people to that point where you need to. I mean, it's sad that you have to convince somebody to put in a little effort.
Yeah, well, because they've been taught to be self-serving. And the people with money, do you know why they have money? They have money because they're greedy. If they were not greedy, they wouldn't have that money. So to try to talk a greedy person out of something, yeah, that's next to impossible.
Before you go, just let me. I'm gonna read you something, okay?
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you who it's from, but I'm going to read something because when you come on, I do try and promote you, okay?
Okay.
And unfortunately, there's people and there's people.
Yeah.
And this one person writes that you're full of shit about farmers over and over. Farmers aren't stupid. All the crap about Monsanto beans. It's total horseshit. You're a radical. You need to get a job if anybody could put up with you.
You or me?
You.
Oh,
God. He wouldn't dare say that about me because I'd let fucking rip, which is what I'm about.
How are we defining job? Because I've worked, I was up until 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
No, don't even justify. Don't even explain yourself.
People make comments like "get a job." Well, how are we defining job?
Don't explain yourself.
When I'm up to my shoulders, when I'm up to my shoulders in chicken shit, and I'm mixing in perlite, which will ultimately form a soil or a base to form a soil off of, does that not constitute a job?
Heath, the fact is that a comment like his does not deserve an explanation, okay? Because he's just lost everything that you've been trying to say for the last hour.
It's probably not a he or a she. That is probably an it. The system is large. Very, very large.
Oh, trust me, this is definitely a he.
And those that are still a part of that system will defend that system to no end. And
this is not a troll. This is not an it. This is definitely a he. This is definitely a he. I know who it is, and I haven't responded yet, but I am going to, because to me, and this is what I used to.
What about glyphosates? It's already been proven that the glyphosates, which Monsanto puts in fertilizers, which puts in insecticides, which puts in herbicides, disrupts the navigational system of the worker bee, which causes the worker bee to be disoriented. So the worker bee goes out and collects pollen all day. He tries to return to the hive to feed the queen, and he can't remember how to get home. That is proven science. Proven. That's not opinion, that is proven. So a company like that, how can we defend them?
Hey, the thing is, this goes back to those same people that you and I were talking about before.
If I talk against Monsanto, I'm not going to tell you an opinion. If I were to tell you an opinion, I think that every employee of Monsanto should be publicly hung till dead for the crimes against humanity. That would be my opinion. But when I tell you that Monsanto is a corporation that is proving to be a detriment to humanity, to the entire planet, that's not opinion. I mean, I'm basing it on science.
Unfortunately, like you said before, some people you can tell, and some people just want to stay in that little fantasy bubble. And what can you do about them? Not much.
Yeah, not much. Not
because
much.
No matter how much evidence you send them, and no matter where you send them and say, go have a look at this, read it yourself, go check this out, read it yourself, and they still come back and they tell you that it's a load of bullshit, unfortunately, there is no saving those people. There just isn't.
They have to get to a position where they're able to see other sides to the story. Because no matter what we're talking about, things are never yes or no. White, black, up, down. That's the illusion of duality that you've been placed into as a result of being in a polarity-based environment. There's always many, 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 many sides to every story.
Mate, as I always say, 2018, everything is questionable. Everything.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Hello, Dale.
Oh, has Dale finally graced us with his presence?
Looks like it.
Oh, really? He's been here for 30 minutes. And when I decide to go in the live stream in a few minutes, he decides to come on at the last minute and say hi.
Well, I can't figure out whether that hand is saying goodbye or saying hello, so take your pick.
I don't know. It looks like it's clapping. Maybe it's doing something. It might not even be clapping. Maybe it's an up and down gesture. And never mind. I should quit that train of thought. Cheers, Dale. Thank you for being here. I've been working on the getting these thank you packages put together for the donors to my community outreach project here in my local area. I'm really desperately trying to expand my operation. I really need to get electric ran to an outdoor facility that I've been working on here on site. I'm at that point where, oh man, I'm grabbing at straws. And anyway, as I'm sitting here, as I was putting together the packages, it was making, I did a lot of soul searching and I did a lot of thinking because I felt like people needed to grasp or try to grasp what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to better myself. I'm not trying to help myself. I'm trying to influence positively my world. What is that number? Hey. Oh, it's not for me. Apologies. And when a lot of times when you approach society and you have a need, whatever that need may be, and you ask society to look into it, the first thing that they assume, that they presume, is that you're trying to get money, that you're trying to get wealth, that you're trying to get possessions, that you're trying to get famous, that you're trying to get attention. I don't want none of that. Everything I do, I don't do it for myself. I live a life of misery, and I'm not saying that because I want sympathy. I'm not saying that because I want people to feel sorry for me. That's my path. Hey, I embrace it. But I need to be able to do more for humanity in the time that I have left. And I don't see I do have ideas. I do have perceptions on how I could, in fact, expand my current operation, but I don't know how to achieve them. I'm at the point where on my own, I'm doing as much as I can do, and I don't feel that as much as I can do is enough. So I decided to go live, and I thought that maybe if I addressed some of these and I talked a little bit, some of the people, like the guy last night that jumped on Facebook and insulted me and tried to attack my character, maybe it would make more sense. My infection in my leg is bad. There is a big green nasty thing. I'm not going to pull the Band-Aid off now on camera. But I mean, I am drinking lots of fluids. I am eating good. Yes, I'm as ineffective as
Heath, I'm
they
going
are.
to
I'm
ask
taking
again, have you
antibiotics.
got methylated spirits?
No.
You need to get yourself some, mate. You need to get yourself some, and I'm telling you, get rid of the green shit off your wound and
Where do I get the
pour
money to
meth
buy that
over it.
stuff at?
Pardon?
Where do I get the money to obtain that stuff at?
It's not expensive. It's not
Okay.
expensive.
Okay.
This is not a pharmacy thing.
I don't have
I
any
think
money,
to
though. I
get
mean, I don't know how to. I don't know how to do stuff like that. I don't have money.
because you don't have to how could I say, you need a prescription for this stuff, whatever. You can buy it just like you can kerosene or petrol. It comes in a bottle. You can buy it in small bottles.
Okay, I'm 30 minutes from my closest store. So that would mean, foremost, I got to get somebody to drive me, whether it's mom, whether it's a member of the community. So that means that's going to require gas. That's also going to require time. Then, once I get to the store, I have to have the money to purchase said product. I don't have any money. I mean, I'm not just exaggerating. I literally don't have any. I'm looking at it being 11 days before I receive my meager $618 disability allowance, which is what I'm expected to live on, because after all, I'm a piece of shit, white American veteran. So Now, I do have a lot of herbs and a lot of fruits and vegetables growing in my yard. My yard is situated in the middle of a forest. So if there's something I can go outside and dig up, pull up, some kind of witch's brew or something, I'm all ears. But, I mean, that's what I have to work with,
Yeah, apart from garlic, I can't. You're
Garlic,
already
and I've been
eating
eating a lot of garlic. I've been eating lots of garlic. I've got some pickled garlic.
So you need some external help to just get it to some form of control, and then the rest will probably kick in. But
I do have that's why we're looking into the oregano thing. But when I looked up using the oregano oil, because I do have dried oregano from the oregano plants that I grew earlier this year. So I do have oregano. I do have extra virgin olive oil. So I am able to make an oregano, what did they call it? Essence of oregano oil. I do have the materials to make that, which is supposed to be, from what I've understood, a very excellent approach at curing the infection. But even that, it says that it takes 7 days. I'm doing that. It's already in the works. I am keeping it clean.
have you got kerosene?
No, I'm out of kerosene. Which reminds me, it'll be time to buy kerosene soon.
Because you can use any one of those three. You can either use methylated spirits, which is usually used for the body, or you can use kerosene. I'm just thinking back of what my father would do if he was out in the paddock and he would cut himself.
Yeah.
It was either
I've heard that.
kerosene
Kerosene, good one.
or petrol.
They use kerosene to treat to help with excuse me, poison ivy here a lot.
Right. But it's always good when you can. It's always good if you can get yourself a bottle of methylated spirits and just keep it in the cupboard for those particular sort of times, because that will dry it out big time. I'm talking you got to get rid of the gunk off it first, but once you get the gunk off, then just pour it on. And that'll dry it up super quick.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen methylated spirits?
No.
Okay, it's white, it's clear, it looks like vodka, but it stinks like a petrol or a kerosene.
No, I've not seen that. It's something I will have to definitely look into.
Because it's readily bought here. Not a lot of people use it, but I always keep a bottle in the house, and so do my kids. Because if you need something to dry up mega friggin' quick, that's the way to go.
Yes, it's definitely it's more of a nuisance than anything. I mean, the hole isn't as deep as it was let's say 5 days ago. So I mean, that's I guess that could be considered a plus.
I mean, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, you can always stick some leeches on it.
I tried to take a Q-tip and dig the. It's nasty. I tried to dig what appeared to be the clunk, the ball of I don't even know how to describe it. The green nasty infection thing in the hole,
yep.
And I tried to remove it. It didn't work. It's just so nasty. And yeah. How many days do I have left on the antibiotic? I don't even know. Yeah, I've still got quite a few of the antibiotics. So I don't know that that's even. Yeah, I'm doing what I can do. Limping around when I'm out there working in the yard. If it wasn't for liquor, I would have no pain medication.
Mate, you know what you do? Send me via email, send me your exact name, exact address, and I will ship you some methylated spirits from here.
How do you do it? Do you rub it on it?
You just pour it on. Take the fucking lid off the bottle and pour the bastard on.
Oh, I bet it burns. But
get as much of the gunk off as you can first, so it's looking like red raw.
Yeah.
And then just pour it on with the bottle.
I should do a very nasty live stream. I should come on later and get the camera and zoom in there. Oh, that would really. I don't even know. Are you allowed to do stuff? Well, I guess so. I mean, I've seen people popping hideous pimples on their faces and stuff on YouTube. I did post a video expressing my aggravation at the large teaching university hospital here. They didn't like that. I didn't get nice feedback off of it. Let's just put it that way. Apparently, you're not allowed to say anything against the norm. Which I know comes with the territory.
But don't forget, please send me your name and your address, and I will send you some bottles from here.
I will do that. But in the meantime, I've got to end this live stream because I've got to go get these chickens, make sure that they are in their coop and that the coop is secure. I've been letting them run around all day, and in the evening times with the threat of the coyotes and yeah, we don't let them stay out at nighttime. We do make sure that they not just in the coop, but we also lock it. And I've got to get them secure. It's starting to, well, it's not going to be dark for a little bit yet, but you know, they chickens are pretty much blind at night. They can't really see, so they start trying to navigate their way back towards wherever they're going to roost just as it's approaching dark.
Yeah.
So I do need to get off here.
No dramas. Go, mate. Go.
Appreciation for Dale, Hash Info, Perth, and just the community in general. Thank you for being here. Much love, as always. And if there's anything that I can do, say, or be to in any way, shape, or form help anybody at any time, you all, I'm easy to contact. I can be found anywhere on social media. And until next time, love each other and try to be productive, folks. Later on, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, mate.
Later.